Hi guys, still here with a new video, and this video will be my 1v1 tier list for Dragonflight. This is like taking into account 1v1, and I'll try to make it a quick tier list. So I will do like a quick short tier list where I say like a phrase or two about a spec, and then I will just give it a rating. Again, it's personal preference. There is no real 1v1 meta, but I wanted to make like a 1v1 tier list because I think it's fun to do, first and foremost, and second of all, I would like to see that one day on Dragonflight or any other expansion for the Warcraft to actually have 1v1 bracket and have a 1v1 ladder. But let's see if they are going to do that. But until then, let's have fun with our imagination and how impressions about the current specs. Now, DKs. Let's start with DKs. We have Frost DK and Unholy DK. I think in 1v1, Frost DK is actually not that bad. So it's A tier for me because it has Pillar of Frost, which is hard to actually deal with as a solo player. That's why it's actually very lethal to do Pillar of Frost. And if you have nothing to stop that, you're going to die. And many specs do not really have the tools to solo defend themselves in 1v1. Again, I excluded every tank spec and every healer spec because, again, a healer spec should be able to 1v1 at DPS, and a tank spec, again, sometimes I feel like a tank should be able to do 1v1 too. So they are all S tier if you want to like put them in your tier list, but for me, I'm going only to do DPS specs because I feel like it's more fair. Unholy DK, I think in 1v1 is a bit worse though. I think it's B tier. They are more slow burners, and I feel like in 1v1 burst is everything. And a encounter, if let's say has a longer duration, Unholy DK is going to probably have a good time. But if the encounter is very slow, then Unholy DK will be probably in like a lot of problems. Again, I'm thinking about like my tier list in my head and how I want to do it. And I feel like Unholy DK has a lot of difficulties with the S and A tier specs. Havoc Demon Hunter, I think it's very strong. I think it is S tier. It is very strong because it has an anti-stealth, so they can kind of know where it comes from, but also just in general, you have a spell literally giving you like flight, and then you can just bombard, and you have like super good defensives that, again, it's RNG, but that RNG is maybe enough to actually give you time to actually kill people. Balanced Druid, I think 1v1, it is very strong. S tier, it has the tools to defend themselves, heal themselves, but mostly like one-shot people with their Eclipse and with their like Celestial Alignment. And it's enough to actually kill someone with Star Surge spams. Feral Druid, I think it's also S tier. I think overall stealth classes are always going to be very strong. It has a lot of like self-heal possibilities, although self-healing is not that great in arenas because of dampening and because the state of arenas makes that Feral Druid is very hard to actually like have some self-healing. But in 1v1, you have a lot more liberty. Your mobility is very strong. The capacity to actually like do a lot of dots and just run away and see them actually die from it is actually a very good thing for a 1v1 situation. Devastation Evoker, I think in 1v1 situation it's going to be very strong. I think A tier because it has like a one shot, although it's very telegraphed. If you know where it's coming from, you can defend yourself versus that. And again, outside of that, you will have some difficulties. But the good thing is you have a lot of PvP talents that can help you to actually like run away. So again, Devastation Evoker, strong. BM Hunter, I think in 1v1 it's very strong, but it's a slow burner like Unholy DK. I think there are better classes and specs for that. You can pretty much do very well. But again, slow burner, if the meta is like very bursty, I don't think BM Hunter actually are like stronger than B tier. I think it's better than the whole DK though. Survival Hunter, I think it's a bit better than a BM Hunter because it has a bit more burst. It is a bit more direct. And again, Survival Hunter, they can also like remove bleeds and poisons on themselves with like the bandages. They have ways to actually like, again, slow it a bit down, but still like survive the burst and the damage from other people. Again, I think Survival Hunter can 1v1 a Feral Druid if they are like using mending bandages. You can do very well versus them. MM Hunter, I think S tier, there's like a lot less ways to actually stop MM Hunter in 1v1. They have a lot of like range, and again, camouflage, very strong, and just overall, you're going to probably kill your enemy before they actually reach you. Arcane mage, I think in 1v1 it's quite strong, but I do not know if I'm going to put it in A tier or B tier. I think A tier. Again, interrupts are like less a problem in 1v1, and you have like the possibility to actually like burn someone very quickly with your arcane surge. You have like a DPS rotation where you can blow someone up like directly from the get-go, and I think arcane is very strong. I could even put it in S tier, but I feel like some S tier specs are going to delete arcane mages, so it's going to be A. Fire mage is a lot more telegraphed. I think it's B tier. Frost mage, I think it's a bit the same situation as fire mage and arcane mage, but I feel like it's stronger than fire mage, so I'm going to put it in A tier. It has slows, it has ways to actually do big bursts, and have double ice block, so if the match is like a bit longer, or at least the duel is a bit longer, you can survive and do a second ice block, for example. Windwalker Monk, I think in 1v1 it is very strong, but it is also super squishy. Touch of Karma is super duper strong in 1v1 because you're literally killing yourself by actually like hitting him. In general, if it's like a fair duel, you will have like open spaces, which is something that Windwalker will love. But also in general, you have like a lot of ways to actually stop DPSers. So I think it's a S tier spec. I think it's very strong. They have self heals, they have the TPs, they have the tools to survive 1v1. I think it's a bit less like evident in arenas, but I think in like 1v1 situation can them defend themselves pretty well. Retribution Paladin, I think it is S tier. They have bubble, they have good self heals. Their weaknesses are a bit less apparent in 1v1 too, and I think like a Hodge, again, something that is actually dispellable by the healer. Well, in 1v1 it's one trinket and that's it. After that you will like eat a 5-second Hodge and also have like Divine Shield, you have like Shield of Vengeance, you have the DR, Dimension Reduction ability, so you have ways to really stall games. I think just because of that and the burst that you have, it's a fantastic 1v1 spec. I would even say it's probably the best one. Close to other specs, of course. Shadow Priest, I think in 1v1 it is also very strong. Mind Games is like insane. I think, again, S tier, because it's a lot more difficult to actually stop a Shadow Priest. They can basically stun you into a silence, into a fear, and you're dead. Or he can also fear into like a mind games, into a stun, into then a silence with like a void torrent, and you cannot stop it. So I think just overall Shadow Priest very strong. They have tools to actually like 1v1 anyone. I think really also having mass dispel is also quite strong as well. So again, I think Shadow Priest probably one of, if not the best caster in the game in 1v1. Assassination Rogue, I think Assassination Rogue is going to be A tier for the reason that races can basically ruin your burst with your death mark. You still are a stealthy class, so I guess I'm going to put it in S tier because again you have like the advantage of us actually being able to start the duel whenever you want, start the 1v1 whenever you want. A kidney shot is also always going to be a result of a trinket directly or like a huge defensive, like for example Iceborne Fortitude. You have like cloak and evasion, very strong defensives, and in general your burst is very hard to deal with if you don't have the tools to deal with. Outlaw Rogue, I think in 1v1 it's a bit less stronger because they do not have the burst capacities that, like say, Assassination Rogue or a Subtlety Rogue has. Even though they have stealth, I think really they can just stall the game with CC and such, but I think it's B tier. I do not rate Outlaw Rogue that good. I would even I'm going to rate it B tier because it has stealth. It's the only reason why. If you had no stealth, I think it would be easily a C tier or D tier spec. Subtlety Rogue, probably top 3, if not like the best dueling spec outside of Retribution and Shadow Priest. Again, they do not really have Divine Shield, but like they have Cloak, which now removes also physical effects, so bleeds, for example, very strong. Kidney Shot, a duel is useless, so you can basically go for other PvP talents in 1v1. Smoke bomb also useless, except whenever you're running away from a cast and then you do smoke bomb to try to have a reset. That's a possibility as well. Every skinny shot is a real kill attempt. And if they cannot really act on it, what you can do is basically kidney shot, he trinkets, you directly blind, you vanish and reset everything. You wait for the kidney shot DR, you just go for another kidney shot or like a triple cheap shot. That's also a possibility. And then just like do your burst rotation with secret techniques and he is dead. So that's pretty much how it works. Elemental Shaman. In 1v1, it's very, very matchup reliant. It has like a lot of potential, but it is counterable. It is very counterable because you do see it coming and they do not have the same capacities to actually like be that good in 1v1. So I think it's going to be a B tier spec. You won't really see that much C tiers and D tier specs in my opinion, because I feel like it's tough to say that something is very bad in 1v1 because it's like a bit of a rock paper scissors kind of gameplay. Again, a demon hunter will like suffer versus a sub rogue. That's just how it is, for example. And I cannot really rate like a spec lower because they lose versus like a specific spec. That's not going to be happening, for example. But I've put Elemental Shaman in B tier because again, telegraphed, damage can be stopped. Versus the S tiers, like all the S tiers, he's going to suffer pretty big time. Versus sub rogue or assassination rogue, it's going to be pretty free for them. Balance druid and such, they can really ruin. Of course, grounding totem can ruin the balance druid burst, but it's not like as important, let's say, than elemental shaman actually like trying to burst and you running away from it. Enhancement Shaman, I think it's one of the best. Also S tiers, they have huge healing, there is no dampening, so basically your self heals are going to be going through the roof. You're basically a healer, but also like destroying people on your way. So Enhancement Shaman is very strong. You do doom wins with like Ascendance. You don't even need to go for deeply rooted elements. You go for Ascendance. Proc Ascendance, they're going to proc their defensives, heal yourself, and then go for doom wins, and you're going to probably win after that. Affliction Warlock, I think in 1v1 is too slow paced, so that's probably my first C tier spec. It has to dot pretty much, like a lot of GCDs has to be spent before you can actually do something. And some specs can just literally push a button and ignore every single dot you have placed or even remove it. Let's say rogues, paladins, for example. Again, you have like stealthy classes like for feral druids or balance druid, they will always have the advantage versus you. You are highly kickable, you are highly stunnable, fearable whenever they are actually doing drain life with the unending resolve, for example. Again, C tier, I think it's probably the worst dueling spec. I would not really like to duel as an affliction warlock in retail, while in classic they do not really have cloak, for example, or other abilities to stop that. So affliction is, for example, one of the best there, but in retail you have too many like options to actually be able to survive affliction warlocks in 1v1. Too much of a slow burner. Demonology warlock, I think demonology warlock is very strong in 1v1. For the simple reason that the Felguard is something that is always going to be happening. You can stun a demonology warlock, but the Felguard will stun you in return. A subtlety rogue can actually have difficulties versus demonology warlock, so I think I'm going to rate it A tier, if not S tier, but I'm going to put it A tier because you still have to cast a lot if you want to have like huge damage. You can rely for a Felguard, but sometimes it is just not enough. You can root this Felguard and run away. The Tyrant is also stoppable because it is a cast time. So again, Demonology Warlock strong by themselves, but it has counters. Destruction Warlock, I think in 1v1 is too slow. You will have to cast way too much. We have classes that can actually like burn Destruction Warlocks in 1v1. Of course, we're not talking about a 1v1 that you have the upper hand because you started the combat. No, it's like pretty much like a duel. Yeah, like you know that you're versus someone. Like for example, it's a bracket 1v1 arena. Who's going to win? And I think Destruction Warlock is not going to be the best 1v1er out there. so I think it's going to be B tier. Arms Warrior and Fury Warrior. Well, Arms Warrior, I think 1v1 is very bursty, but also very matchup dependent. That's why I'm going to be B tier, because Dybra Sword is kind of useless versus Lacosses, except for the damage reduction thing. But again, if you're stunned or feared, whatever, you cannot spend Dybra Sword. It will not like help you. So versus a rogue, if you have like trinketed, your first reaction should be like either a Blade Storm or even a Dybra Sword. If you're not Blade Storming their kidney shot, which you can do if you're a bit lucky, you're going to die. Basically, you don't really have a lot of self heals. You can self heal yourself, but it's not like very consistent. Like for example, Fury Warrior. I think Fury Warrior in 1v1 is quite good because it has a lot of self heals, because it has tools to do a lot of damage like directly, and just in general it has like the survivability that you can actually expect from a Fury Warrior, while for example Arms Warrior will not have that. So this is pretty much my tier list. Again, you can rate however you want those tanks and those healers. They could be all S tiers. For example, a Mistweaver monk is going to basically ruin everyone out there, but again, I think if they ever put a 1v1 bracket on World of Warcraft, they would exclude tanks and healing specs, because it would be like too cheesy or too stupid to actually face one. Especially like, let's say you're a Frost Decay and you're playing versus a healer. Well, you do not have any like MS effect, so how are you going to deal with their Sylph heals? It's not going to happen. So this is pretty much my tier list. Let me know what you think about it. It's pretty much like lightweight. Again, it's a 1v1 like tier list. It's not like very serious. People may see it otherwise, may see it like a bit differently, but I wanted to share it because some people asked me to make a dueling like tier list for retail, because I made one in classic. And with pleasure I am sharing with my tier list right now. So thank you for watching. Have a great day. Be sure to stay safe. We will catch each other very soon in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.